Welcome back to First Listen, everybody. My name is Tenthile, and I hope you're doing well today. This time, on First Listen, we checked out something completely different. Something a little out there. We checked out Forma's latest release, their fourth studio album, Semblance. So going into this, I didn't really know anything about the band. I did sample a couple of their tracks just to see what kind of band they were, what they were about, what their sound was, their vibe. We're going to talk a lot about their vibe here. And it seems like they're a very experimental electronic band that kind of does their own thing. They have their own unique sound that kind of just flows and, well, it vibes. I told you we're going to talk about vibes. So let's go ahead and get into this First Listen. The album opens with this repetitive folding of tones and this thick bass on crossings, a track that kind of serves to really bring you in to this new sound that you're not expecting. And as the track progresses, you're grabbed by this organ vibe that actually moves into this whole atmospheric sound, that kind of that kind of vibe, you know. Forgive my vocalization there, but that kind of thing that just envelops you and makes you feel like you're part of the track, kind of like you just fade into it. That is just awesome. This is a very thoughtful, thought-provoking, and reflective sound they're going for here. And I really enjoyed it. It's a chill listen. And sometimes you really need a chill listen after you've listened to so much heavy stuff or, you know, really fast electronica. You just need something like this to kind of smooth you out, make you whole again. Upbeat tones and a slightly bouncy beat on ostinato? I wasn't expecting so much of a happier tone on this, because it brought us in with this vibe of kind of like, let's just pull you along and tell you this story through these beats. It was an interesting way to open this track. It opens you up slowly and nicely, peppering in these atmospheric vibes that just grab a hold of you and they pull you through. It's really cool that you can fall into tracks like these and fade into them, and they fade into you, and you kind of aren't really sure where you begin and where the track ends, or when you end and the track begins. It kind of just flows together in such a way that you're kind of together, you're one. And maybe it's the change in the range and the pitch that kind of gets you. I think it's all of it together, just combining into this thing that feels so right. It's every note, it's every beat, it's all the substance. It just feels good. More beats. We got beats everywhere, but this time coupled with this teeny vibe that kind of rolls on itself. And you have this cutting in pitch here on 3/2. The track really reaches deep and stretches wide as it again pushes you forward, pulls you along. But there's this wave of transcendence at about 4 minutes, this kind of peaceful feeling that really spoke to me. And as the track ends, we have what sounds like two different voices, but instead here there are beats that talk to each other, they communicate, and we have the drums in there kind of moderating everything. It's this very interesting effect. I'm not sure if it was purposeful or not, or maybe it's in my head, because this record is definitely in my head now. But to hear them kind of bounce off of each other in what sounded like a very organic way was just the coolest thing. Softly piercing through the ether, we have this flute, this like Native American flute that just hits you so deep on rebreather. And this track to me is like an instant favorite. I love when flute is accented like this, the notes are perfectly drawn out, man, it just becomes this thing for me that presents so much peacefulness, so much beauty. Maybe I just really like flute, but the way this is presented is really nice because this track is smack in the middle of a 7-track album, and this kind of serves as a, not an intermission, but kind of an interlude in the middle of everything that just says, like, everything's going to be okay, but keep listening. Everything is here. Everything. A decayed beat mixes with a nice little harmonic sound on Cut Up. This track actually blew me away because this is the first one where we have a sample. We have some voices. Now, they do have a decaying effect on them, but it's actually super effective. The way they decay add this substance, this texture that the other tracks don't really have. But they don't really need it, and neither does this one. But it puts it in such a place where the decaying effect feels perfect. You feel like you're fading away with it. That is just awesome. And it's that flavor, that texture, that kind of pulls you into the beat and guides you along into this void of peacefulness. Slow and calm, but with a haunting vibe, New City grabs you with its piano and its toxic tones. They kind of feel like this bubbly thing, you know, when you think of Toxic, it's just this sound that kind of flows. The track is complemented by this drum beat that steadily pushes you forward into these shadows, further and further than you ever thought you could go. And you're not sure if you can feel or see or where you really are. And wrapping up this album, we have a very quick and upbeat track, Ascent. This track lifts us up, builds us up with this urgency, but this very peaceful urgency that pushes us into infinity. And I think it's where we actually begin, right here as the album ends. We fully fade in to this vibe, this feeling, and the real journey begins. This album is really good. If you couldn't tell, I actually really enjoyed it. It's a heck of an experience. I think you'll enjoy it too. Definitely put this thing on when you're, trying to think or just relax. You just want to feel really good. This is perfect for that. So that's going to do it for this edition of First Listen. I hope you enjoyed. Hit up the comments down below with how this album hit you, and I'll see you in the next First Listen. Have a good day.